Okay, this video is about trigonometric ratios using this formula, SOHCAHTOA. I always sing it, it's really fun. A trigonometric ratio is a ratio of the lengths of two sides of the right triangle, and the trigonometric ratios that we're going to be looking at today are sine, cosine, and tangent. This is an acronym, and it's supposed to stand for, I guess I'll keep it that way. It's supposed to stand for an American princess called SOHCAHTOA. It's just imaginary. American Indian princess, sine equals opposite over hypotenuse, cosine equals adjacent over hypotenuse, tangent equals opposite over adjacent. This only works for right triangles. So let me draw one, and I'm going to draw one right now. And let's put in a right triangle triplet. So we're going to let's call this side 6, this side 8, and this 10. Okay? So we're going to look for this angle x. You need either this angle or the other angle over here. Now we start with opposite, hypotenuse, and adjacent. We need to know these guys. So let's go relative to x. This is the opposite side. So let me change my marker, and I'm going to write this as the opposite side. Relative to x, well, this is always the hypotenuse because the hypotenuse is the slanted side across from the 90 degrees, and it's always the longest side. And this x is adjacent. So now we can set up three ratios, trigonometric ratios. The sine ratio, the sine of x, is equal to, from the formula, opposite over hypotenuse. You don't put O over H, you put what it is, stands for. So 6 over 10. Now we don't have the units on this, but it could be any units. All right, now the cosine of x is equal to the adjacent side, which is 8 over 10. And similarly, the tangent of x is the third ratio, is equal to opposite over adjacent, 6 over 8. Now we can calculate these using our calculator. I'm going to bring up my calculator, and I'm in the scientific view on my calculator, and I'll show you how to do these. So the sine of x, so to find x, you actually find the inverse sine. So let me show you how to do that on my calculator. So let me go to my calculator, and I'm going to take 6 divided by 10 equals, which is 0.6, hit the INV, and then I'll get the sine -1. This is 36.8.9 degrees, so about 37 degrees. So this is 37. And similarly, let's just make sure the cosine works. 8 divided by 10 equals, and then inverse cosine -1, 37 degrees, just about. That's great. And let's check the tangent. So I said it was opposite over adjacent, so 6 divided by 8 is 0.75, inverse tangent -1. They're all the same. It works awesome. Let's try using this. I'm going to move this out of the way. Let's try using SOHCAHTOA for a different type of ratio. I have some on the board. Suppose you're given that this is 48 degrees, but you don't know the side of this triangle. So let's go and work this out. So remember, opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse is what we have to do. So we're going to label the sides that we're given. Across from 48 is the opposite. Adjacent, this is x is adjacent. We don't write hypotenuse because we don't have a hypotenuse there. There's no numbers for it. So we go to our formula, O and an A. This is a tangent one. So the tangent, I'll just underline that, the tangent of 48 is equal to this ratio, opposite over adjacent, 3 over x. So to solve this, you're going to have to do a little bit of algebra. So we're going to put this over 1 and cross multiply. I don't know if you remember this, but you should. This 2 together, I'm going to undo that because it's kind of messy. These 2 multiply to those. So 3 is equal to x times the tangent of 48. Or x is equal to 3 divided by the tangent of 48. So let's go find out what the tangent of 48 is. So we'll go open up our calculator and clear it. 48 tan, just hit the tan button. You're not doing the inverse, you're just doing the tan button. So it's 1.11. So our solution would be 3 divided by 1.11 units is how big x is, 2.70. So x would be 2.70 units. Obviously I didn't quite draw that right because I made it longer looking than 3. Now let's go to the next one. Now we're going to get a new one. So we're going to label these, this x and the 8. This is the hypotenuse and this is the adjacent. So we go to our formula, which has an A and an H, is the C one. So the cosine of 23 is equal to adjacent, which is 8, over the hypotenuse x. We're going to cross multiply. These two multiply. You can put a 1 over here. Is multiplies to those. This is how you cross multiply. So 8 is equal to x times the cosine of 23. And dividing cosine of 23 on both sides, x is going to equal 8 divided by the cosine of 23. So let's go find out what the cosine of 23 is. So 23, I'm always in degree mode, cosine is 0.92. So x is going to equal 8 divided by 0.92. So let's try that on our calculator. 8 divided by 0.92, and it's 8.6, well, I'm going to say 8.7 units. And it should be bigger than this side because the hypotenuse is the largest side, and the largest side is always across from the largest angle, and so it is 8.7 units. One more example. So we're going to label these. This time, this is opposite of 28, and this is hypotenuse. Sorry about that. And now we have an O and an H. This is the sine one. So the sine of 28 is equal to, you don't put O, you put in the value, which is 5, divided by the hypotenuse, which is x. So we're going to cross multiply x times the sine of 28. And sometimes if you put a 1 underneath these, it might help you a little bit with the cross multiplication. I just do these all the time, so I'm kind of familiar with them. It's equal to 5. So x is equal to 5 divided by the sine of 28. So let's go find out what sine of 28 is. 5 divided by, let's see what that is, 28 sine. And so it's 0.469. So going back to our calculator, we're going to say 5 divided by 0.469 is going to give you 10.66. So the hypotenuse is longer. And this is how you do this video. I hope you had fun, and I'll be back on another special right triangles video soon.